Okay, so everyone just took like the biggest L over in Black Clover right now with chapter 298. Megicula just pulled the wool over everyone, and not only that, just really took the ultimate W and gave them an L, and even gave a little bit of salt to the wound at the end of the chapter, because last week's chapter led into this one, and for the most part this chapter was just like, man, doom and gloom between Gaja. He risked it all, and yeah, caught an L. Noelle, she thought she had like, yo, I'm the stuff, I'm all that in a bag of chips, and to a certain degree she was. I ain't gonna lie, like I said last week, she gave Vonica the beats. She gave her a serious case of the beats for that matter. So it's like, yo, she was high and mighty last chapter. Then we get from the end of that chapter to this one, Megicula just has her down bad. Like all of these people on this battlefield, Charlotte, Real, everyone just took the ultimate L in Black Clover, and I ain't gonna lie, I ain't mad at it, considering the fact that the Dark Triad originally started as like, okay, they're the big baddies, but then ultimately it's been building up that these devils, in particular Megicula and, you know, Dante's one, Lucifero, like those are seemingly being even more grandiose than the Dark Triad themselves. We got a lot to talk about. Without further ado, people, let's jump into a little bit of that Black Clover breakdown. Damn, hate that it had to be Noelle to catch this L, but it is what it is, fam. Let's talk.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, people, so for starters, chapter 298 of Black Clover, one of the things that I definitely have to comment on is, wow, it was a double spreaded chapter if I'm not mistaken, but ultimately it said 11 pages, which that's a short chapter. It didn't feel that way. I want to add in there that it didn't feel all that short because it was kind of dialogue heavy, giving explanations and things like that. So it's not like the normal times where Black Clover feels like, holy cow, this chapter feels so damn short, you know, when it'd be 15 pages. It actually didn't feel like that, but ultimately, yeah, on the, you know, Shonen Jump app, you read the chapter, it's 11 pages. I'm like, damn, what the hell are we doing here? But again, thankfully, the amount of information and everything that was provided within the chapter allowed it to feel a little bit more digestible than just like a wham bam, swords was swinging and it's over. Because it starts off with Noelle asking Megicula, yo, how the hell are you here if there's only one gate being open? You know what I'm saying? Which at this point we've seen that there's been a little bit of, not a bending of the rules per se, but there's been a lot of additions of how things are playing out. I mean, between the stuff that Morris has done and how he's speeding things up, like a lot of little crackles in the whole ideology, or the whole idea of, hey, the only way for the big devils to come over is through these gates, has kind of been I guess manipulated to a certain degree. And at the end of the day, the explanation that Megicula gave, while it's kind of like, oh, it's convenient, ultimately at the very least it does make sense to a certain degree. And also this has been a plan that's been in the works for quite some time. This isn't a last minute thing that Megicula, you know, 5 minutes ago was like, oh snap, we've got a way out. Like, no, this has actually been in the works since the days of Aesir Silva, because Megicula basically says that the gates and all that jazz was just a backup for her in particular, because ultimately she was trying to go through a whole different route. Basically, she said her true goal was to reincarnate through malevolent femcarnation, which is basically what was explained in the last chapter of how she needed 3 powerful mages of the same, you know, gender, which all of them are females, obviously. And I made a small mistake in the last review where I said that it was Noelle, and I was kind of confused, but ultimately one of them, which it's basically reset in this chapter, that one of them is Aesir. So she's held on to this Aesir soul thing, the power from cursing and dying of a curse that Aesir died from. She's held on to that all this time in order to come through, and that's how she was able to somewhat manifest within Vonica, because of Aesir, which makes this thing already, in my opinion, a lot more personal. Like, it's already been personal. It was already like, yo, she attacked Aesir's children, Noelle and Noelle, back in the days, all of that jazz. So, you know, they already had that grudge. But then to find out that, yeah, her mom, you know, Noelle's mom's death and being cursed to death helped to spawn this creature, this, you know, demonic nut job that is Megicula, makes it even more personal. But ultimately, something that Megicula said was that basically the gates was almost like a backup plan for her in particular. Like, her big grandiose idea was like using this whole malevolent femcarnation, but the gates really wasn't a big thing to her. So I'm imagining that maybe Lucifero, for the most part, is the one that is like, this is his grandiose, so big idea of how he's gonna get through. But for somebody like Megicula, this is the idea that they try to go with. And it's not all that far-fetched either when you think about it, because remember, it was we got the flashback of Lieb and Asta's mom back in the day, and how Lucifero was able to kind of manifest over via a different method as well. So it's not completely far-fetched of these people coming over. It's just different circumstances. And again, this one requires a very powerful concoction of 3 very, very strong female mages. And I want to say it was like either the first or second page or so where we get the close-up of Megicula's face. I really like the design of the face. Like, obviously the body is still not complete because, you know, like even as said in the chapter, Megicula still is only like basically a third of the way there, I'd imagine, based on what is, you know, required to come back and whatnot. But the face, I really like the character design, and it kind of reminds me of remember when like Pachu was running around saying that he was lit? It kind of has a little bit of that look to it, which I loved. The fake lit, you know, Pachu when he was pretending and whatnot. That whole character design looked awesome, and it kind of gives me vibes of that, but just a little more demonic. But then again, that's not surprising at all, considering that Yuki Tabata is amazing when it comes to character designs. His character designs are bar none some of the most interesting, some of the most cynical looking, and I love it. And also, basically, it's kind of a catch-22 with this battle that was just done between Vonica and Noelle, which we obviously wouldn't have known that. Basically, Noelle half killing Vonica, essentially, is what led to Megicula being able to manifest this far. Because if you think about it, since she's been with Vonica, Vonica hasn't, you know, taken an ass whipping to this point of like, holy shit, you know, I'm about to die. And also, she didn't have Aesir at that time to be able to, you know, take that next step. So even, let's just say, the battle that Vonica lost against Aesir back in the day, the Aesir, you know, curse death didn't occur yet, so ultimately Megicula couldn't come out this far. But now, since then, this is the first time that probably Vonica has taken a really, really big whooping like she took now, so that's why Megicula was able to, again, manifest like somewhat partially through Vonica, which I'm gonna lie, it's kind of sad to think about that. Vonica's really over. Like, Noelle ultimately gave her the L, so I'm very, very happy about that. Like, it wasn't a, hey, we're in the middle of battle and Megicula took over. Like, no, Noelle was about to stab straight through her. Noelle got that W fair and square. Nothing was robbed. Again, thankfully, because that would have been really horseshit. Like, hey, the big rematch we've been waiting for. Oh, it's interrupted. I hate when they do that. And basically, the final ingredient will be, because obviously Vonica is, you know, about to die. Like, right now, anybody could kill Vonica, and that'll be step 2 done for Megicula to return. The final step is Loropechika, that she's basically almost on death's door. Loropechika drops. That would be the 3rd step, and we will really have a problem, because I can only imagine what full-on brought forth Megicula completed here would be able to do, which I don't even know if we're going to see it, just to be honest with you, unless there's another way out, or unless the gates of Demon World open in between all of this stuff. I'm imagining we're probably not going to see this character, just because I'm going to throw it out there. This is Shonen Jump, and I don't expect Loropechika and Vonica to die right here. It could be, it could happen at the end of the day. I mean, I'll throw it as a little bit more plausible, just because Loropechika isn't the most important character, so they possibly could give her the ultimate, you know, death and whatnot, and that would impact Gaja greatly. Vonika's a villain, so it's possible, but, you know, it's Shonen manga. You gotta brace yourself for it. Yeah, it probably won't happen, and we probably won't see completed Megicula, but I would love to, because that would be like the ultimate battle, which you could tell Noelle's already having problems. She would need a lot of backup to get that one done. And you see that Loropechika, now that she's been turned into a devil, is using, like, you know, these devil water magics and shit like that, and it's really tragic. And I could imagine Gaja's there really messed up in the head right now, because at the end of the day, that's like his light, the love of his life to a certain degree, basically turning coat, but being manipulated, not really, you know, her doing it herself. And it's hard, because Loropechika is somebody that they've all felt like, you know, we gotta protect her, she's innocent, things like that. So to see the innocent person you're supposed to be protecting, you were supposed to be there for, get turned into this, yeah, that'd be heartbreaking, because ultimately Megicula says, hey, I messed with the curse and turned her into a devil to this point because I want to have fun, which I'd imagine that that's probably what made Megicula even more comfortable being with Vonica, because they both have that really sadistic type of mindset, like, yeah, you know, these are great memories for Loropechika to have. Like, no, that's not great memories. Going to a battle to the death, like, maybe for you because you're twisted and you think things in a whole opposite direction, but no, Megicula, no. And then I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit bewildered when Charlotte and Rill thought they were about to do something, like, yo, I gotta stop this, I gotta put a stop. Which, shout outs to Charlotte, because even Megicula praises her, like, yo, you're like one of the only people to ever, you know, be able to take down my decay magic or whatever it was she said. She gave up props, like, ultimately, which again, that's hard to get from somebody at that caliber like Megicula. But ultimately, I was like, yo, if you struggled before, right, and you had an issue, what makes you think you're gonna be able to do something now where she's at a whole different level? Megicula even said, like, yeah, I've leveled up, fam. We ain't joking around. So yeah, ultimately Charlotte and Rill take a big, massive L. Like I started this video off saying, everybody took an L. Like, they get pinned down quickly, and I'm like, you tried. And then Gaja, another one. He tried true lightning magic, and, you know, you see that he's had this bond, and ultimately everything, because, again, Lolopechika has just been that person you want to protect, and I'd imagine Gaja has some really strong feeling for her. He even said that he basically wanted to become the strongest combat mage in the Heart Kingdom, to be her backbone, because she was weak and things like that. So everything that he did up until this point was for her, and when he's charging in at Loropechika, he remembers of how she's supposed to look and what she looks like now, seeing the transition, and it's a scary thing to note, to even look at that. And he risked it all and gets stabbed straight through. Possibly Gaja could die too, which again, I don't know. It's Shonen Jump. You never know. But I think Gaja could die too. Like, somebody here should ultimately die. And it's not that I'm hungry for this shit, but if it's being presented everywhere, there gotta be some type of, cost. There gotta be some type of repercussions to this whole entire battle. Whether it be Gaja, Loropechika, you know what I'm saying, Vonica. Like, out of all of them, I honestly see, well, if it's not gonna be, because again, Vonica, she's evil. They could kill her off. I don't think it'd be a big deal. I could see Gaja, unless he's like a fan favorite over there in Japan. I could potentially see Gaja biting the big one. I could see Gaja biting the big one more than Loropechika, because Gaja's like, this worn warrior and shit like that. I could see him dying before Loropechika. But again, for Megicula to be perfect, like, there's a lot of variables in there. And then Noelle's like, everyone! And then gets stripped of her spirit dive. And I'm just like, what the, what? Because Megicula's decay magic is just, again, on a whole other stratosphere. Like, Noelle, when she tried to make the water dragon, and just before it could even get to Megicula, was evaporated and shit. Like, Megicula's no joke, and stripping Noelle down is like, what? And the most disrespect, fam. It was disrespectful like hell, in my opinion, when Megicula hits Noelle with her own words, hey, you lose! I was like, yo, because that's what she just had hit Vonica with in the last chapter after she whipped her ass. You lose. Now she hit her back with it, which that's probably a small portion of what Megicula mentioned in the last chapter. Like, I do feel bad, or whatever the heck, I feel something for her because I was rocking with her for so long. That was probably like a little bit of Vonica's revenge via Megicula, even though Megicula will probably kill Vonica, obviously will kill Vonica, is planning on killing Vonica, letting her die because, she wants to reincarnate, but it's like, that was a homie, you know what I'm saying? I have to avenge her in some form or fashion. You lose. And it was really awkward, the final panel of this whole entire chapter, of us getting a panty shot of Noelle after taking the ultimate L. I'm like, Tabata, really? Like, when do we even do this in Black Clover? What? I get it, she's falling down, but there was like a million ways you could have angled that shit, and I was like, okay then. Sure. And overall, just a very, very daunting chapter. Everybody's down bad. It's just everybody is down bad right now. Gaja getting stabbed through, Charlotte and Rill down bad. It's just like one thing after another. Noelle has been stripped both of her magical ability, the spirit dive, and even of her pride. We got to see her cheeks at the end of the chapter. It's like, Megicula, whoa! Very curious what you guys think about this. I guess one of the biggest things is, who do you think, if anybody, is going to die in this battle? Is it going to be Gaja? Is it going to be, Vonica? Is it going to be Loropechika? Like, who do you potentially see dying, if anyone at all, or if multiple people, in this upcoming fight against Megicula? And your overall thoughts and expectations for where this whole thing is going to go moving forward, now that we have a threat on the level of Megicula. Shit is getting crazy, shit is getting real, and yeah, I don't know where the heck this thing is gonna go, but I'm looking forward to it. Again, I'm gonna throw in, like I said last chapter, I'm gonna say it this chapter, I think Noelle is going to show up and help out with Noelle and avenge their mother, but that's just me. And your overall thoughts and expectations for the future of the Black Clover manga, with chapter 299 and beyond, 2 chapters away from 300. This is gonna be a big one. Maybe the defeat of Megicula. Like, I could see that. I don't know. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life. Bye. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and it's doom and gloom right now. L's all around. Like, you would think that this is Death Note, so many L's. Have an awesome day.
Forever.